Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode. And we're good to be back. It's been a while. Sorry for the long break, but sometimes life does happen and things have to be taken care of. Anyway, regardless of all of that, we've got some interesting content coming up this month and next month. The stuff that we're going to be talking about today is going to trail into February. So this is the end of January right now. This will post probably tomorrow. Um, And we have a few other episodes that we have planned. I got 4 in total this month for February coming up that we have planned. And I'll be talking about some of that as well as we go into today's episode. But today is really just going to be a quick touch. We're going to talk about Lychee's update that came out 7.2. And I'm also going to mention the fact that there's a 7.2.1, which is the beta release if you want to be testy. Get it? Sorry, dad joke. Anyway, if you want to test out the beta edition and be one of the brave, one of the few that actually play around with the beta features, you can feel free to do so and download that on Lychee's website. Otherwise, the 7.2 is the official stable release that I'm going to be talking about. And the only reason I'm a month late is because we just didn't do any new content before the holidays. So the episodes that we did up until the beginning of January, we're all that was the content we did in the month of January before we went on holiday and stuff like that. So anyway, we're back. We're making new stuff. It'll be more consistent at this point. Again, it is still a part-time channel, so please understand that we only release a few episodes a month anyway, as we have time to, and as I have the ability to create content and come up with new ideas for that said content, which usually kind of stems from questions that I get asked on either Reddit threads or God knows, Discord forums and things like that I talk on, even Facebook sometimes. But these are usually where some of the things or topics that I bring up come from. The reason I discuss the updates is just to kind of keep y'all up to date on what Lychee's doing with their software and how they've made changes. So usually when we do the updates, I don't really do much else but just talk about the updates for about 5 or 6 minutes or so. So we're just going to cut straight into it, and I'm going to talk about it. So for this version 7.2, which was their Christmas release, got the little guy with the candy cane holding up. This one has support for cameras for Elegoo using the Chitu Systems SDCP 3.0 protocol. It's version 7.1.0. That was when that was introduced. We've introduced their support for Wi-Fi export, and you can also monitor those printers with a camera to check the build plate is empty before starting a new build. Personally, I don't love any of those features. I don't use Wi-Fi printing or any of that stuff. I like to be there to make sure things work. Call me crazy. That's just the way I do my printing. But that is now available. File path management or export 3D slice. They introduced a dedicated path. While many users welcome the change, some preferred the previous system. To address this, we've added a new preference in the settings menu where you can turn this on or off, and it's file path management. You can now find the setting at the bottom of the preferences menu, ensuring flexibility for all workflows. This version is clear, user-focused, and easy to understand. For the changelog readers, let me know if you'd like any further tweaks. Again, they made this a preference, and I'm simply reading this right off the changelog. Previous behavior before 7.1, I open an STL, see whatever / whatever. When I save my scene, it automatically suggests saving it to the same directory. If I export my scene in 3D, the suggested path will still be that same directory. If I export my slices, it will suggest that folder. If I start over with another STL or re-export, the default path will remain the same. If I start over with another STL or re-export, the default path will remain whatever the same. If I open an STL in another folder, this now becomes a default path. Remember last save location equals on, which is what the preference is called. The behavior, this is after 7.1. Toggle set to on. Specific folders are saved for each type of action. Example, I open an STL from whatever directory. I save my scene in another directory. I export my scene to, and yet again, a different directory, and I export my slices to a fourth directory. If I open then an STL from another folder, instead of the original folder that I chose, the path now becomes the default path for only imports. The other folders previously used for save, export, and slice are not changed and kept as defaults. It's a really convoluted option, and honestly, I'm not sure which way I like it better. You guys decide for yourselves. I my brain fights with both, but that's what they've done. Bracings. Apparently, there was a bug with bracings, and I didn't find this bug where it would delete your fifth preset and replace it with one of your own. So they fixed that. Also, some fixes in Linux. No more crashes, apparently. So they say. Object renaming validation fixed an issue that allowed renaming an object with an empty field, rendering it impossible to rename it again. Now empty fields are no longer permitted during renaming, ensuring seamless object naming. There you go. That fixed. Also, guys, the proximity error has been fixed. If any of you have been waiting for this one as long as I have, they finally fixed it. Now, if you actually go to View, Supports and Proximity Error, it will actually show you if you've done the proximity search. It'll show you the ones that it's already auto-detected as well. My goodness. I think I've been waiting for this since version 5. Maybe 5.2. I don't know. It's been a while. That is pretty much all of the changes that are addressed in 7.2. Now, if you're interested in the beta and you want to download and test out the beta, I am not using the beta. There's a library update in it. The new version focuses on stabilization and resolving some key issues, particularly those affecting file loading. Previously, errors such as file not found could appear when opening LYS and LYT files. To address this, we've completely reworked the file loading system, ensuring such issues are eradicated. Now, only legitimate cases such as missing external STL file reference in LYT files will trigger an error. There's a note here. File loading and saving are crucial. Despite extensive testing, we're releasing this update as a public beta to address potential edge cases across diverse setups and third-party tools. Stable version will follow once we've gathered feedback and ensured optimal performance all configurations. Now, I advise you folks to actually try this out if this is something that you're having an issue with. I personally do not suffer from this issue where I get this file not found thing. I had it once, and I fixed it. I was able to fix it by simply moving and renaming the file and then reloading it. It seemed to be a bug when I duplicated the object. And again, I'm not really sure. I couldn't recreate the bug twice, but I figured out a workaround at the time, and I got around it. There is some new printer compatibility added for the beta. The Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra 16K and the Nova 3D Whale 4 Ultra 16K. And the FL Sun S1 Pro on the filament side have been added. Global settings have been improved. There is an ignore system scaling option now that you can toggle on and off. Some updates have been made to the following printers, and you can update them through the Cloud tab in your 3D printer settings. Frozen Revo 14K, Anycubic M7 Max, Creality Hallett Mage Pro. There's also a bunch of fixes on the beta version here. Again, we're talking about 7.2.1, file not found, reconnecting Wi-Fi 3D printers, library 3D previews, printer mode mismatch, and dynamic hole display. There's also an update to the library, which we don't really talk about too much because I don't care about the library. If you guys want models from the library, if it works for you, great. That's not my thing. I don't need another subscription. Anyway, that is the whole update caboodle. That's the public beta version and the official 7.2 actual release. So there's all the updates. There's all the notes on both versions. You make the decision. If you want to work with the beta, go ahead. I've never had issues working with beta versions of the software. They're usually fairly stable, and I use them for my work. So if I'm brave enough to do that, you can do it too. Now, currently, I'm not using the 7.2.1, and only because I'm literally in the middle of a project, and I absolutely hate to update the software when I'm in the middle of working on a project. So I'm leaving that alone for the time being until I'm finished with this particular project. And then I'm going to update the software to the beta, if it hasn't already been made an official release by the time I'm finished, because it's a fairly large project. But anyway, that's pretty much all there is for the update episode. Again, These quick lessons are going to be fast and informational in most cases, and they're going to try to be really, really quick, usually between 10, 12 to 15 minutes at most. And we're going to try to just make them really efficient. The updates are probably going to be another one of these things that we just try to hammer out, get it done real fast, and just say what we need to say. In most cases, when we do the changelog and the update episodes, I am literally reading verbatim from the changelog in some cases. In others, I'm not. I'm kind of ad-libbing off of it. But if you want to ever see this information yourself, you can go to mango3d.io/changelogs, and you can check out all the changelogs for every single version that they've ever released pretty much from now and I think since it was released. I don't know if you can download all of the versions all the way back through time, but I know you can download a couple of the older editions. Like if you wanted to download an older version, I believe there are ways to do that. You need to, I think, if it's an older version, I think you would need to contact support to find that out. Again, I don't know why you'd want to go that far back. You really want to go forward, not backwards. They fix bugs forwards, so honestly, it's in your best interest to move forward with the software, not backward. Anyway, happy printing out there, folks, and we'll see you all next time. That's it for now.